We'll call this meeting to order on time. How about that? And welcome, everyone. May we have a roll call, please?
Board members Apkarian, Berry.
Here.
Nakasone.
Here.
Ochoa.
Here.
Sheehan. Seeger.
Here.
Here.
Chair Raggio.
Yes, here. And may I have a motion for the approval of minutes, please?
If I may read the report in the record first. The agenda for the August 7th, 2013 regular meeting of the Glendale Oversight Board was posted on Thursday, August 1st, 2013 on the bulletin board outside City Hall. And at 2A is the approval of minutes of the regular Oversight Board meeting of Wednesday, May 1st.
May I have an approval of the minutes?
I so move.
All those?
Aye. Aye.
The minutes are approved. We'll go on to the next informational items, please.
And there are no informational items, so the next item would be 4A, Director of Economic Development regarding authorizing the issuance and sale of 2013 tax allocation refunding bonds to refinance outstanding bonds. And at 4A1 is a resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of 2013 tax allocation refunding bonds to refinance outstanding bonds of the former redevelopment agency, making certain findings and providing other matters related thereto. And may the record show that Board Member Apkarian arrived at 2:31.
Ms. Bovovian?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. Philip Lanzafame, Director of Economic
Well,
Development.
we're moving right along.
I know. Can I start again? In May of this year, the Oversight Board authorized the staff to initiate the refunding of former redevelopment agency bonds from 2002, 2003, and 2010. In June of this year, the the Department of Finance approved that action, and so we have started to process and get to a refunding before the next call date on our bonds, which is December 1st. You've already approved several members of the financing team. The Successor Agency on July 23rd approved the issuance of bonds and the form of indenture. Before you today is the next step in that process. That is to approve the Successor Agency's action and move forward with the preparation of documents. We have estimated that the refinancing would save approximately $850,000 a year, and that's just under $7 million over the remaining term of the bonds. There are two types of bonds that you could issue, both competitive and negotiated. In this case, because of the type of instrument that it is, we believe that the negotiated process is the appropriate one to use. In fact, we're not sure that if we did this competitively, we would get anybody to bid on them at all, because the majority of those in the competitive market simply don't know this vehicle, this instrument. As part of the authorizing resolution, we identified the final member of the negotiating team, that is Southwest Securities, as the underwriter. We believe that it is important and beneficial to have a underwriter on board now for several reasons. Namely, we're moving very quickly and we're working within some defined periods when the Department of Finance needs to approve things. We want to be able to go when the market, as soon as the Department of Finance says yes, we want to be able to move when the market is most advantageous to us. So having the team together we think is important, and that's why we want to identify that firm now. They will also be helpful in structuring the bond. They know their investment base, the investors that are out there. They know the market, along with our financial advisor, so their input could be valuable as we structure the bond and we move to sale. We have selected Southwest because of what we believe are their unique qualifications. They have been involved in the underwriter in 3 of the only 4 issues that have come through dissolution. So we think that they bring a very unique experience in knowing the requirements of the Department of Finance. We think that they have an educated investor base. That is, those investors now know what this vehicle means. It's different than the former redevelopment agency bonds. So having that investor base is important. And finally, the lead underwriter was involved in the 2010 and 2011 bond issues of the former redevelopment agency. So she has firsthand knowledge of our strengths, the issues that we have, and the story that goes behind those issues. One of them being the concentration of taxpayers. There's a very good story to tell, but you need to understand it first. There is no requirement to do a request for proposals for underwriter. However, there is no requirement not to. You could do it either way. We think that this is the best way to do it, to have that firm on board now, allow us to move as quickly as possible. The underwriter is not approved with this action, nor was it. We identified them. They will be approved when the final documents come before the successor agency. We believe that'll be sometime in October. The following steps that you take are to seek, should you adopt this resolution today, we'll seek Department of Finance approval on this. We've allowed in the schedule 60 days. We know that the department has approved this once, but they do need to look at it at this approval again. Allowing for that, we will, in the interim, be preparing our preliminary official statement and other documents. In October, we'll go back to the successor agency with those final documents for approval. We'll sell bonds in late October, have a close in November, and be ready to refund bonds on December 1st. If we miss that December 1st date, we will have to wait a full year until next year. We don't know where interest rates will be. My guess is they will be higher, and we will have lost out on the savings for this year of $850,000. The financial advisor is here with me today, as well as legal counsel from the successor agency and your counsel for the Oversight Board. If you have any questions, be happy to answer them. But we are recommending approval of the resolution that approves the successor agency's approval to issue the bonds and the form of indenture.
Are there questions?
I have a question from our legal counsel. Is not going to an RFP okay on this particular item?
Yeah, there's nothing in AB X126 or 1484 that would require an RFP in this process. It's similar to like the city's hiring for professional services. That's how we saw this, but there's nothing actually required.
Okay. Even with that, I don't feel comfortable just picking, just for transparency, and just even if one member of the public believes that there is some kind of a hanky-panky going on with us and somebody else, I don't feel comfortable just handing the matter to Southwest without an RFP. I believe even if they're the last ones, if they're the most qualified, they should get they will get the contract once it's put out. So just for transparency reasons, for public to feel comfortable, I think that there should be an RFP put out for the underwriter.
Mr. I'm sorry, just to add, I should have said, the financial advisor's job is to ensure that rates and fees are appropriate. And so when we issue bonds, that is the financial advisor's job. If you asked us to do an RFP, we would be asking for the same qualifications that have already been demonstrated by Southwest. So We certainly understand that that's
I mean,
an alternative.
isn't that the whole reason? I mean, if you go to a contractor in the city and they've done work for you for 10 years, you don't just say, let's give it to the same contractor just for the heck of it. You basically ask for an RFP. If they're the most qualified, then they'll get the job anyways. But to actually just say, just because they've done it in the past, we should continue doing it, then the whole RFP process is not necessary, because if you work with someone for more than twice, then you basically don't need to actually put out an RFP anymore. You just give it to that same person every time. You undercut the entire process. So I really wouldn't feel comfortable. I know there are people in the public that have questioned this, and I personally wouldn't feel comfortable not going through an RFP. And if the person is the most qualified, they'll get the job. If they're not, then why not look at other options, better rates, better fees, and have people compete for the job instead of just going ahead and handing it to someone who basically has done it in the past. And because you do that, they feel you won't be able to negotiate their fees as well as you would if they're competing with other people.
Mr. Ochoa?
I just would converse to Mr. Abkarian's point that with respect to professional services, especially professional services in this arena and at this time, given the newness of the legislation, the fact that there haven't been many bond issues, that indeed having the underwriter on as soon as possible, and I have to say having this particular underwriter on the team is critically important to us. The idea for us, I think, in trying to preserve as much value for the taxing entities who will benefit by this refinance that's already been blessed by the Department of Finance, is to have somebody who can ensure that we get the absolute highest return from this refi. And having worked with this particular underwriter, it was a happy set of circumstances coming to find out that this underwriter is the same underwriter I have worked with before, that will absolutely put our needs as a community, not just the taxing entities, but the overall community for the benefit of those taxing entities, oftentimes ahead of their own gain, believe it or not. That we have the ability, both through the good faith and experience with the underwriter, through the professionalism of the financial advisor, to ensure that we get the maximum best value for this transaction. I understand the concern, especially discussion about transparency. I don't know that it is best applied in this particular circumstance, respectfully.
Further comment? I have a question, and that is that if we were to seek an open bid on this, what kind of a delay does that mean?
Well, if you approved it today, we would be working with that with that underwriter right now in structuring the bond. My concern is that there may not be a delay, but we may miss a window. And I just don't know, can't predict what will happen.
What window is that, Mr. Esvey?
December 1st. We're backing up from December 1st. That is a hard and fast date. We cannot miss that date. We want to be ready as soon as we can and then judge the market. If we were in a position to issue bonds tomorrow and we thought that rates were going to go down in the next 2 months, we could wait. If there was a spike or something happened in the market, we could go right away. If we're in an RFP process, I don't know who that underwriter is. I'm waiting until October, very near the end, before I'm able to pull a trigger. There may be things in the marketplace that I miss. There may be opportunities in the marketplace that we miss.
So we're really
don't have
talking
that team together.
to managing some risk with respect to what could happen in terms of bond rate.
Indeed.
All right.
So how long is the RFP process generally for the city?
Well, depending on how the different approvals I have to get, I've got to come back to you, and you meet once a month. So I could do it perhaps in 30 days, put something together, issue it, have it back, review, interview, and have it before you in 30 days. But I
Actually, you couldn't, because City Council is going to be dark for 3 weeks, and before it goes back to Successor Agency. So you're probably back here probably closer to 60 days out.
yeah, it would be sometime in October.
Further questions?
I had a question. It makes a whole lot of sense on the 2002 to the 2003 bonds to refinance, but on the 2010, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of deviation in the market that's going to result in it not paying off. If the market changes, because we're not going to market until October. If the conditions change and all of a sudden it doesn't make sense to refinance the 2010 bonds, can we pull that, or once we approve it, it's gone at this point?
We've set it up so that you could pull those out right up until the time we sell the bonds. There's some advantages, even if it was a wash. There are some advantages to refunding those and have all three of those issues become one for ease of debt service and economies with the Department of Finance.
Any further discussion? We're ready for a motion then?
I would make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Board members Abkarian,
No.
Barry,
Yes.
Nakasone,
Yes.
Ochoa,
Yes.
Sheehan,
Yes.
Steger,
Yes.
Chair Raggio.
Yes. The resolution passes. Next item, please.
At 4B is Director of Economic Development regarding authorization to make payment on Union Bank loan agreement during ROPS 13-14A from LMIHF. At 4B1 is resolution approving the use of low and moderate income housing funds in place of redevelopment property trust, tax trust fund for payment of Union Bank loan agreement on ROPS 13-14A pursuant to Health and Safety Code 34177A4.
Ms. Pavoli.
Board members, Board Chair and Board members, this item involves a revision to ROPS 1314A. That's the current ROPS that's in place right now. It covers the period of July 1st through the end of December 31st. And when we got our RPTTF distribution from the county for this ROPS period, we faced a $1.2 million funding shortfall. In reviewing some of our options, we learned that our low and moderate income housing fund had some excess funds following the due diligence review that was done. So if I can just backtrack for a second. We had a due diligence review done of the low and moderate income housing fund to determine what the starting balance was, what the obligations were, and what was left at the end of the day. That money was sent to the county auditor and distributed. Following that DDR, there was a couple of obligations that were listed on our ROPS that we asked to retain funds for when we were going through the DDR. Fast forward, those obligations no longer need to be funded by the Successor Agency, and so that left us about $1.8 million in our low and moderate income housing fund. The Dissolution Act does not discuss how to send this money back. It's not like the typical ROPS process where the leftover funds are automatically distributed by the county. And so as we were exploring options, we reached out to the Department of Finance, explained our predicament, and asked them for permission to use this leftover money to make this Union Bank payment, which is $1.5 million. They pointed us to a section in the Dissolution Act, which I'll read. It's 34177A. Nothing in this act adding this part is to be construed as preventing a successor agency with the prior approval of the Oversight Board from making payments for enforceable obligations from sources other than those listed in the ROPS. And so the DOF suggested we agendize this, get Oversight Board authority to make this payment from this other funding source than what was listed and approved on the ROPS. We have a little bit of a timing concern in that the first payment of about $764,000 is due August 9th, which is 2 days from today. The Oversight Board meets today. As soon as you meet, we send all of our resolutions to the DOF. Under the typical process, they have 5 days to review and get back to us if they want to review this item in further detail. If they do, it allows them 40 days to do that. But as we explained the timing concern to DOF, they agreed to review an advanced version of the resolution, which essentially says, we did the DDR, there's some leftover funds, we'd like to use this money to make this Union Bank payment, and have agreed to turn around the resolution by the close of day tomorrow, which would allow us to make the first payment on Thursday, assuming the Oversight Board is okay with this approach.
Questions?
So we wouldn't get in trouble for using low-mod income dollars to make this payment?
The underlying agreement, which I brought with me, actually specifies low mod as the source of repayment, but as the ROPS is done months in advance, we had anticipated the DDR would deplete all of our funds, and so when we prepared ROPS 1314A, we had to switch the funding source to RPTTF.
Are you saying the Department of Finance has already looked at the resolution and
A draft version of it, correct.
And they said they're okay with it?
Correct.
So the answer is, to your question is, yes, we would not get in trouble.
Correct. We would not get in trouble. Which is kind of funny, because you used to get in trouble for using housing funds for anything other than low-mod housing. Brave new world.
Yes. Any further?
Motion
Question.
to approve?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Board members of Carrion?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Nakasone?
Yes.
Ochoa?
Yes.
Sheehan?
Yes.
Digger?
Yes.
Chair Wajio.
Yes. Motion approved.
At 5, there's oral communications, but there were no cards submitted. Item 6 is board member staff comments.
Any comments? or
I have a
staff?
comment. I had in the paper a couple of days ago, a few days ago actually, that a new agency with Mr. Hansfeld will be organized, and that some money left over from the redevelopment agency will be actually attached to that. At this point, I don't think we can even discuss it at this point, unfortunately, but I would like to get that agendized for the next meeting so we can actually discuss that. As I don't believe we can even discuss that in today's meeting. It wasn't part of the agenda, actually.
Eliza Pan?
I can say that the reporter got it a bit wrong. Those funds are intended to be the city's general fund that comes from the dissolution. So at the end of the day, there's excess property tax. It's distributed to the different taxing entities, the city being one. As the city was going through this Economic Development Corporation, we identified funds that would come from the dissolution of redevelopment.
Mr. Lansman, just I don't mean to cut you off. I really do apologize. I don't want to be in violation of any rules or regulation of not having an item on the agenda that we're discussing. That's the only reason I'm stopping you. Maybe it's an item I can talk to you about it and pull it off later, but I mean we can't discuss it right now because it's not part of the agenda.
Well, I think it's
Not even an
something that could
explanation.
be
Whether or not it's
clarified.
going to be on an agenda, you can stop me if you need to, but the idea being that the funding is not funding from the former redevelopment agency. And so the funding that was identified to the city council would not come through this body in any way whatsoever. It would not be part of us. So to have it on our agenda really is...
So what I'm hearing is that the money is really not part of the subject matter jurisdiction of the Oversight Board.
Correct.
Is that correct? So in that case, then the item probably should not come then before this board. However, of course, I'm sure that there are people at the city who would probably, talk with you and let you know exactly kind of what was going on. But if it's not within our purview, then it wouldn't come before this board.
I mean, if the reporter was wrong, and I'm assuming that she was, then that's a different story.
That happens in the news press.
I understand that. Unfortunately, we haven't had a meeting for such a long time that the only place I get my news is there. Maybe having more meeting. I know I don't want to have meetings often enough, but not to have a meeting for a very long time is not a good idea. I would like to have meetings a little bit more often.
I think it was implied that our next meeting would be October. Is that true?
I'm sorry. I was having a sidebar with Ms. Van Meiden. I missed the question.
Next meeting.
September 4th, and you will have ROPS 1314B on the agenda.
That's the Wednesday after Labor Day?
Labor Day, correct.
All right, all right. Any other comments from board members? Closed session, we're not scheduled for one? Any new business? Then it's come to that time to,
Sun sets slowly in the west.
yes.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned.